Paul George is clearly not the number one option on OKC. He's had to adjust and acclimate himself to those confines, and look at what he's been able to do. He averaged nearly 22 this year on 40% shooting from three-point range with a guard that's a shoot first point guard half the time in Russell Westbrook. And I'm not disrespecting him in any way. I'm just saying.
No, you're not disrespecting him. You're just telling the truth. Russell Westbrook is a nut. We all know it.
And that's what he is. And still Paul George finds a way to acclimate himself to a situation, make those necessary adjustments. So if you are a team, it's one thing to look at a talent like Oladipo and say as the number one option, he's all that in a bag of chips. But as a number two option and beyond, what is he going to bring to the table for us? We don't know. Whereas with Paul George, you look at him and no matter what situation you put him in, he finds an ability and a way to adjust. And so you got to give credit where credit is due. In the end, it comes down to Oladipo's talents being what they are, combined with the fact that he's younger. But let's not strip Paul George of the credit of being that star who can acclimate himself to any situation, adjust upon necessity, and do what he does.
You make some valid points, Steve. I will say that Paul George has shown himself to be a player who can acclimate himself to various roles, no matter what is asked of him. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's just a much bigger player than Victor Oladipo. So he can swing in between playing the 2, the 3. He can even guard 4s, depending on what their body type is and what their skill set is. Once again, I think we're only at the start of what's in store for Mr. Victor Oladipo. I think that he's finally tapped into the true reservoir of what it means to seek out greatness. So we'll see what happens with him in the oncoming years. In regards to Paul George, I don't think that he's going to get any better than he is right now. I think that Victor actually can get better than he is right now. I think that he has the potential to be, along with Kyrie Irving, the best guard in the Eastern Conference, to share that title. I don't consider Ben Simmons a real guard. I think he's a player who transcends position, kind of like a Magic Johnson, so I don't count him. Paul George, I think he knows what he is, and I think he's going to show you that he knows what he is based off of who he signs with after this season.
If we're talking talent for talent, Paul George is better. He's taller, he's longer, he's a better defender.
Agreed.
I mean, Paul George sometimes fades, his offense does, when you need him most in the playoffs.
Agreed.
I've seen that, and even then, he is a devastating defensive player. He's a great two-way player, and he's better than
that ugly knee injury too.
Yeah, that's right.
Get that.
And he's better than Oladipo, but that's not the only consideration here. Paul George's superior play versus Oladipo's youth. That's not the only consideration. And it's not just that they also got Sabonis, who, as I mentioned, makes that second unit go as a sixth man with his rebounding and especially passing. And his ability to gel with teammates makes that second unit work in Indiana. It's not just that. It's also what each franchise was facing. The Pacers were going to lose Paul George, likely. What were they going to be able to get for him? Well, they got a mainstay in their offense, and right now their best player and an all-star who just was the best player on the floor, and LeBron James was also on the floor in a game 1 of the playoffs. They got him locked up for years, through his age 25 to like 29-year seasons, meaning it's the very heart of his prime.
Yes, and I do believe that he's turned the corner with them. So that is what they have to look forward to. I think they have a great nucleus right now in Indiana. As we speak, we don't know what the nucleus is going to be for the Oklahoma City Thunder after this season. We know that Carmelo Anthony's out of there. Once again, Carmelo's not even going to stay for the exit interview with the media in Oklahoma City. That man's going to be out of there. As soon as they lose their last game, he's putting on his sunglasses and he's heading out.
And they got him just for a little over $20 a year, which nowadays sounds pretty good. And they got Sabonis. Meantime, OKC could just wind up with Paul George as a one-year rental, meaning if they don't win the championship, what did they really get for Oladipo and Sabonis? Who won the trade? The totality of it is, no question, the Pacers won the trade.
I agree with you that the Pacers won the trade, but I think that if the Oklahoma City Thunder, by some unforeseen circumstance, are able to gather themselves and make a magical, mystical carpet ride to an NBA championship this season, they will certainly be able to say, without any form of dispute, that they won the trade. But I do think that in the long run, the Indiana Pacers are going to win the trade, and even in the short term, because I think that they have the potential to go just as far in the Eastern Conference in this year's playoffs as the Oklahoma City have of advancing in the Western Conference, because I don't think that OKC is going to get past the second round. As it looks, they may have trouble getting out of the first round. I really think that the Indiana Pacers and the OKC Thunder are pretty much the same team, just in opposing conferences right now, especially in regards to the potentiality that they have to advance.
I mean, Stephen A., even if you took away what I just...
Well, let me amend that. I think that the OKC Thunder have a better chance of advancing than the Indiana Pacers do, because the Indiana Pacers are going against the best player in the NBA right now. And I still believe that the OKC Thunder have the better talent. But who knows? Even though they may have the best overall talent in regards to an individual player and from top to bottom, because the best player in the series presumably is Westbrook, they may not have the player who plays the best in the series by the end of the series. That may be Mr. Donovan Mitchell. We'll find out.
Just said. And just went talent for talent, salary for salary, age for age, you could still make a case for the Pacers. But when you also factor in what their needs are going forward,
I thought we were doing.
Close.
Stephen A., I have a quick question for you.
That's what I thought we were doing. I didn't bring up all of that other stuff because that's not necessary. The fact of the matter is, we all know that from an age perspective, along with the dollars. Of course, it made sense for Indiana. Of course, they won the trade because they ain't got to worry about keeping somebody that doesn't want to be there. Not to mention paying them an exorbitant amount of dollars.
But significant.
Ill-equipped to afford. But the bottom line is that that's obvious.
Because at the time of the trade,
about the two players going against one another.
Okay, at the time of the trade, it looked like they didn't get enough. Oladipo, it turns out, was underrated because of the way he was used in OKC.
Agreed. And I understand what Max Kellerman is trying to say. At the time of the trade, it looked like the OKC Thunder had pulled off a heist. That's what it looked like. And, of course, that is the genesis of Dan Gilbert, the owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, saying you could have gotten more if you would have worked with us.
You see, and maybe Sabonis was a little underrated too. It turns out, Oladipo's really good as the lead dog on a team, like really good.
But once again, that just shows you what can happen if you're in an environment that fosters your performance and fosters your excellence, as opposed to just being a background singer in the Russell Westbrook band.
Now we still see Paul George, same old guy, great player. It's Oladipo who's jumped out at us and a bit of surprise and has made us reevaluate the trade.
Yes or no question. Is it fair to call him one of the top shooting guards in the league now?
Oh, absolutely. But is he really a shooting guard? I think that he's a combo guard. I think that he, along with Kyrie Irving, are probably the best combo guards in the NBA. I mean, we call Kyrie a point, but he's really a combo guard. And with the offense that Boston runs, he's never going to be a player that gets 10 assists a game. Just like I don't think that Oladipo is ever going to be a player who gets 10 assists a game, because they're combo guards. They're asked to score a lot. They're pretty much in the same mold. But yes, I would definitely consider Oladipo one of the top guards in the Eastern Conference, no doubt. I believe he's better than Kyle Lowry. That's for damn sure. For some reason, Kyle Lowry keeps making All-Star games. Hopefully, Oladipo and a couple other guards can finally knock his ass out of the All-Star game, because he has no business being there. But if I were to rank the best guards in the Eastern Conference right now, number one would be Kyrie, and number two, I would probably flip a coin between Oladipo and DeMar DeRozan.
Yes. Oladipo?
Yeah.
Yes,
and then some.
5, sure.
Okay.
You know what Oladipo is right now? Mm-hmm. What John Wall and Bradley Beal should be in Washington.
I agree with that. That's why I stated at the beginning of this video that Oladipo, to me, looks like John Wall if his teammates liked him and he had a jump shot.
Interesting.
That's what Oladipo is right now.
All right, guys, up next, Beck.
But anyway, that's it on that video. We'll see who advances farther in these playoffs. But anyway, peace.